All right, so I've got to get this in. Unbelievably, I mean, we've been talking about how the Biden White House, Joe Biden, Jill Biden will not acknowledge the 7th grandchild. Hunter Biden's love child, however you want to have heard of this girl, Navy, but it's his child out of wedlock with a woman who was a former stripper down in Arkansas. And not only will they not acknowledge her, but they continue to underscore the fact that they have 6 grandchildren, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6. They have 7. There's this young 4-year-old named Navy who they refuse to let her call herself Biden, even though Hunter Biden's her dad. Right. Anyway, Friday night in the middle of the summer, 5 p.m., in a paper statement, last paragraph of their release on what's going on in the Biden White House, they bury an acknowledgement that there is a Navy and that she is the president's 7th grandchild. Now, I'm sure Navy's going to wrap that around her like a hand-knitted shawl at Christmas, a lovely gift from Grandpa Joe. One paragraph in a paper statement on Friday at 5. But this is such an obvious CYA, Holmes. And I guess they felt they had no choice but to do it. It's obviously politics.
Yeah, I mean, I've long felt like this is as big a liability as President Biden has, because he, amongst, all this nonsense and his terrible governing or whatever, amongst the American people, was seen as a family man, seen as a good person. Of course, people remember his tragedy, of course, as a young man, also with the death of his son, Beau. And so people give him the benefit of the doubt on all of this. But then you get to a point where he's not acknowledging a granddaughter. And that takes something. It takes an act, a proactive act by somebody to just completely throw out who he sees apparently as garbage, or somebody he doesn't want to acknowledge as a human being and a part of his family, and had done so for a period of years. I thought that cut deeper into the center left or center right of the electorate than almost anything that Joe Biden can do, because it's about him. It's about his integrity. It's about who he is as a person. Clearly, they got to the bottom of that and felt like, well, you can't do that. I mean, people are going to have a real problem with that. So on Friday night, let's just say, Navy, that's her name. We want what's best for her. No, you don't. No, you don't. I mean, they went through Hunter a period of years trying to basically distance as far as he could distance, couldn't use the name, had to pay off, it's ugly. And what's so bad about this is it exposes the cynicism of the Biden family in the politics of this issue, not the family, are what drove this discussion. It's disgusting.
Mm-hmm. Joe Biden wants to say this is personal. In the statement, he says, our son Hunter and Navy's mother, London, are working together to foster a relationship that is in the best interest of their daughter, preserving her privacy as much as possible going forward. In other words, stop fucking talking about this kid. Let me translate for the audience. Right. Then he writes, this is not a political issue. It's a family matter. Same refrain as paragraph number 1. Jill and I only want what is best for all of our grandchildren, including Navy. And here is CNN with their messaging on it, not that far afield from the president's message. This is CNN over the weekend.
Why now for the Bidens? And honestly, why did it take them so long?
Well, 2 things. First of all, I respect you as a journalist for having to ask the question, but it is a very gross and uncomfortable subject to talk about as it is.
Well, let's not call a little girl gross. Okay?
No. I'm talking about the intersanctum of a family and the privacy of what goes on in a family. That little girl, she should not be weaponized by the Republicans who are down there in Arkansas with conservative lawyers and conservative PR people and posting on their Instagram. They shouldn't be weaponizing her.
It's not Republicans, with all due respect, who made Hunter Biden into a complete scumbag on this and other issues. The ignoring his own daughter for 4 years, and the President of the United States hanging up a stocking for the dog, and not for his 7th grandchild.
Okay, look, we can also have sympathy for people who are struggling with addiction. Let's keep this conversation respectful.
Holmes, help me.
I mean,
people wonder why the mainstream media is dying. Let's have
God bless
respect.
Scott. God bless Scott Jennings. He's a good friend of mine who goes in there and has to face all of this nonsense all the time. And, the point he's making is a good one, which is like Republicans didn't create this problem. Hunter Biden did in the dead of night, probably on a crack-fueled binge. But look, pull it back out of all of that. What's not disgusting is asking questions. What is disgusting is when you hang 6 stockings for each grandchild at the White House, omitting the 7th, and then hanging one for the dog that bites the shit out of the Secret Service at all basically hours of the night. Like the dog gets a stocking, not Navy. Now Navy does, and it's like, but you can't talk about that. Why would you talk about that?
It's personal. It's family.
That's a personal issue, and everything. By the way, a president of the United States, the most public figure in the English-speaking, probably all of the world, he's got to have privacy. There's got to be privacy amongst these kind of decisions.
Unless, he keeps raising it. He keeps saying, I've got 6 grandchildren. I speak to them every day. This is what I tell them, the importance of being a dad, the importance of family. He is running on his Grandpa Joe image, which is particularly annoying to those of us who love Wonka. There's an actual Grandpa Joe who's a good man. He got up out of that bed. He went with Charlie to the factory. His legs hadn't worked in 20 years. Okay.
Oh, Willy Wonka. I didn't see that coming.
Look, you did the tough thing during COVID. You paid your people and pulled your business through the pandemic. And now doing the tough thing could qualify you for up to $26,000 per employee at covidtaxrelief.org. Government funds are available to reward companies with 2 or more employees who stayed open during COVID. This is not a loan, and you don't have to pay it back. The program's complicated, but no one knows more about it than the CPAs and tax experts at covidtaxrelief.org. You pay nothing up front. They do all the work, and then they share a percentage of the cash they get for you. Businesses of all types, including nonprofits and churches, can qualify, even those who took PPP loans, and even if you had increases in sales. You did the tough thing for your employees during COVID. Now let covidtaxrelief.org help get you up to $26,000 per employee. Visit covidtaxrelief.org. covidtaxrelief.org, covidtaxrelief.org. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.